The White House says it has no plans to oust special counsel Bob Mueller, but Trump's allies turning up the heat, and Congressman Matt Gaetz just marched to the House floor demanding Mueller resign.
I join my colleague, the gentleman from Arizona, in calling for Mr. Mueller's resignation or his firing.
Gaetz and two other members here have a new bill asking the House to go on record calling for Mueller to recuse himself.
It is federal law that even the appearance of a conflict of interest means that someone cannot engage in prosecutorial duties regarding allegations and investigations.
And what is the alleged appearance of conflict? Well, Gaetz says it's the fact that Mueller once served as the nation's top law enforcement official, head of the FBI.
Why can't Mr. Mueller and Mr. Rosenstein conduct this investigation? First of all, Mr. Mueller was the head of the FBI in 2009.
With me now is Florida Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz. Thanks for joining me. Congressman, when you look at these issues, what is a conflict of interest under the law?
Well, the dispositive legal question is whether or not Bob Mueller can investigate Russia's connection to the 2016 election if he has a conflict of interest as to either of the participants in that election. In 2009, we knew that Russia was trying to infiltrate our uranium assets through bribery.
Before we get to uranium, though, I'm asking you a question, which is, what is the standard what is the standard of conflict of interest under law? What is just the conflict of interest standard you're referencing?
Oh, look, if you have a relationship to a party, or if your own conduct was part of a transaction, you then cannot come back and investigate and review that transaction because you are part of the underlying witness scenario. And in 2009, we had a Russian operative saying...
I just want to go, I know, but I just want to go in order. What is Bob Mueller currently investigating in your view?
Well, his charge is to investigate Russia's involvement in the 2016 election. He has a conflict as to Hillary Clinton because in 2009, he was at the FBI. Rosenstein was the U.S. attorney that essentially silenced this informant that had this information.
I've heard about uranium, and I'm sure eventually we'll get there. But moving in order, we will put up the conflicts rule here. As you know, prosecutors must recuse if they have a personal or political relationship with people that are involved substantially in the subject of investigation, or they have a substantial interest. So it sounds to me like you're referring to conflict rule 1. Who are the people?
Well, no, it is the matter.
Who are the people? Let me ask the question. Who are the people?
Hillary Clinton is the person.
Who are the people that Mueller's currently investigating? So you think he's currently investigating Hillary Clinton?
His charge is to investigate Russia's involvement in the 2016 election. We now know that one of the reasons Russia may have wanted to have been involved in the 2016 election is to undermine our uranium assets. Mueller and Rosenstein were the very people that stopped that Russian informant from testifying before Congress and sharing those concerns with the American.
So the person, though, the person that you think the conflict is with, right? The person, though, you're identifying as the source of the conflict is Hillary Clinton. Is that correct?
Correct. Hillary Clinton and the subject matter and the facts that lead and influence Russia's engagement in the 2016 election.
So we have no public. I know. I want to get it right. We have no public reports that Hillary Clinton is a subject of this investigation.
Well, again, it goes to the charge. The charge that Rosenstein gave Mueller was to investigate Russia's involvement in the election. The charge wasn't just to go, and investigate President Trump and his team. And if Mueller has a conflict as to Hillary Clinton, then of course he would have a de facto conflict as to President Trump and his team.
Okay, so now we get to the part you were raising. Now we get to the part you were raising earlier.
One party or the other.
So now we get to that part. What is your stated conflict that you see with Hillary Clinton?
As early as 2009, we knew that Russians were trying to undermine our uranium assets through bribery, kickbacks, and extortion. At that very same time, you had the State Department not speaking up against this transaction while the Clinton Foundation was filling out deposit slips from Russian oligarchs. That appearance of conflict of interest is enough to have Mueller recuse himself in this matter.
You haven't mentioned Bob Mueller. You just said some things that you believe are bad about Hillary Clinton. Whether true or not, what is the conflict? Wait, hold on. As you know, you're a lawyer as well.
It's with Mueller and Rosenstein.
But the conflict you're alleging, sir, is that the bad stuff you just said about Clinton also relates to a link to Bob Mueller. And your answer didn't mention Mueller at all. What exactly, with facts or evidence, is the Mueller link to Clinton here?
Mueller in 2009 was part of the multi-agency process that should have spoken out against the very bribery, the very extortion, the very kickbacks that ultimately led to the uranium deal. He had the power to speak out, and either through malfeasance or more likely just through negligence,
Congressman, you
so
believe the FBI...
But let me finish. Because he was part of that fact pattern, he now cannot go back and investigate something where he may very well be a witness.
You're stating a belief that the FBI was involved in this uranium approval, but as you may know, there are 9 government agencies involved. The Washington Post has reported the FBI was not part of the government review of the uranium deal. Let me read to you. Let me read to you. 9 government agencies make up the government committee that reviews such deals, along with 5 other observant agencies. The FBI is not one of them. How do you reconcile your claim, which you're entitled to believe, and this fact that undermines your claim?
The FBI has a counterintelligence mission. No, because if you are to take that position, you have to believe that the FBI isn't central to providing information to a variety of agencies with a counterintelligence mission. Counterintelligence is central to what the FBI does. And again, it was the Department of Justice with Rod Rosenstein's name on the signature block that filed the pleadings that stopped this Russian informant from exposing the Uranium One transaction and the Hillary Clinton and Clinton Foundation involvement in that scandal.
So you think that because you wish the FBI was involved, that creates a conflict, but if they weren't involved, you have to concede that's not a legal conflict. It may be an opinion, but that's not a legal conflict under the code. And let me just mention, and I'll give you a chance. Let me give you a chance to respond. But Congressman, you cite 28 CFR 45-2, and that states that you have to have the standard of people substantially involved. And you cite the personal and political conflicts. And today, and I'm giving you a chance to provide the evidence, you don't actually have evidence of how the FBI under the law was linked to any of this stuff, whether this stuff was bad or not, which we haven't even really fully adjudicated. So is there anything else? I want to give you a chance to answer this before we go. Is there anything else that you think provides a Mueller link? Go ahead.
The very same code that you just cite says that even the appearance of a conflict of interest necessitates recusal. And again, we're not out prosecuting some street-level drug dealer. People are going after the Trump administration, and thus we should hold to the highest conflict of interest standard. Because Mueller, as the FBI director, had a counterintelligence mission, while there was counterintelligence information linking uranium assets to bribes at the same time that the Clinton Foundation was taking money from Russian oligarchs, there is a mountain of admittedly circumstantial evidence, but it is enough to raise the question of conflict, and certainly Mueller should recuse as a consequence.
Well, you've raised a big issue here, and we wanted to hear from you directly. And Congressman, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on the beat and give us your views.